Hello, Hojoz here. Welcome back to the 5th season of the Dark Fighter competition. In today's quarterfinal battle, we have the Sai NDF Namiari and Sai MP1 Kame by Sturmhauke battling the Boatcamp and Boatcamp Probe by Rocketing Racer. And well, let's just say that this is going to be a landslide victory for either one of these. For which person though? Let's hear me out on what I have to say before the battle starts, since I already know the answer. And with the matchup known, honestly, I think it is going to be quite a good one. Quite an exciting one, because on one side we have the Namiari, which, I rate it as fairly competitive here, since, well, built by an AFC member, and I remember it being quite a good aircraft. And on the other side we have the Boatcamp, which, this is built by Rocketing Racer again, who won PFC 9 Chapter 2, of course. But he just tends to make really maneuverable aircraft that just run rounds against on anyone who takes him on. At least that's the image of him I have in my head. Anyway, time to reload. Boatcamp is the first vessel I spawned, so will also be the first vessel to be deployed. It'll be really interesting to see how this goes. Since, well, the Boatcamp, of course, as per its namesake, camps its boat. I don't really know how the Namiari is going to feel about that. So, just waiting for the craft to load up, for the craft to settle in, and then for me to enable the radar, of course. Enable radar, and here enable radar as well. It's a bit wobbly here. Oh well, shouldn't be an issue, at least I don't think so. That's competition. Did it take off? Didn't, because the engines are disabled. Okay. That probably didn't even deploy then. Come on, man. Oh well. This is the usual CFC setup issues. Well, setup issues that are only specific to Season 5. I haven't had this many setup issues in any of my competitions as far as I can remember. Let's look at you once again. You require 2 presses of the spacebar, of course. I have bad memory. You've probably noticed that already. Enable radar. Enable radar. Just very quickly going to wait for this to stop swaying, because that probably affects craft takeoff. It has stopped swaying now. Everything's deployed. Let's try again. Namiari has taken off and the Boatcamp has taken off, and both are not splashed, so it's a good sign. Now let's hope they separate properly, because in the last episode aircraft didn't really separate properly or separate fast. Let's see how that goes. They are separating quite fast, aren't they? Huh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, we are already starting the competition. That is fast, really fast. Now let's see if the Boatcamp can lock on to the Kame or the Namiari And the Namiari can lock on to the boat camp. Although it looks like the Namiari has already fired a missile, which is coming in now, and has struck the boat camp right in the face. I mean, it wasn't even dodging that one, clearly. Meanwhile, the boat camp has fired an A9 at the wreckage, and is now finally firing a Hellfire, with the boat camp probe trying to get the Hellfire out of the air and succeeding. Now the Namiari has to do damage to the boat camp in order for it to win, since the boat camp itself, the airplane, has already been annihilated, and I did not expect it to survive its landing, which it will land now, splash and really now. There it goes, it's splashing quite hard here. Yep, there it goes, it isn't anywhere, it is dead. So, it's pretty much all to the boat camp probe for Team Rocket and Racer, as the Namiari is firing Hellfires now. I believe it has fired 4 so far. The first 3 coming in, and the 4th one as well. That's not going to survive. That was quite the simple match there, in favor of the Namiari. Sorry. We're going to see. Oh yeah, that's the middle of that has been completely annihilated, and apparently that's where the probe was. So yeah, it looks like the Namiari has taken the 1-0 advantage, and it's looking quite good for it, since well, the boat camp really didn't bother dodging the missile it fired. So perhaps it will never ever dodge the missiles this round, and then just hand the win to the Namiari without any gun combat. Which of course it would be really boring, but can't really do anything about it, right? I mean, it's not as if I can as if I can dictate that these aircraft have to do at least a little bit of gun battling before they are granted a win, because, well, didn't build that into the rules, and if I would have built that into the rules, it would be a pretty shit rule, let's be honest here. Anyway, the first round we have been on board at the boat camp, and it has gotten the camera disadvantage, so now the second match will be on board at the Namiari, and we'll see if that gets a camera disadvantage or maybe a camera advantage. Who knows? Anyway, both aircraft take off fine again, and no one is showing up as splashed. So, I guess we are having a battle today and not having any setup issues. I really do wonder what the Namiari's Gauss would do to the boat camp, or if the boat camp will be maneuverable enough to get behind the Namiari and fire it out of the air. I really am wondering that. Anyway, turning again, aiming, and launching a 120 and launching another 120 is the Namiari, which has not been locked onto by the boat camp yet. Sad boat camp. It's probably locking right about now. Yeah, it is first of all concentrating on getting missiles out, but if you can't lock onto the aircraft before you're getting hit by missiles and you're not dodging them, of course you're gonna die. So that is the issue for the boat camp here, which means that it is going to be totally not at all dominant, and instead the Namiari could be just looking at a very easy free meal here, as the Hellfires have once again come in and completely annihilated the boat camp probe. Oh boy, I really wasn't expecting this total and complete and utter domination here. really is a surprise for me. I was expecting a more closer, more exciting round. But apparently, I hyped it up too much for myself there. I thought that we left the domination in the qualifiers, but no. Total and complete and utter domination by the Namiari. I really have to sort that out because I'm only supposed to say two of those three words, of course. I am an idiot. Yes, I am. It has not separated. It has it. Has it? It hasn't separated. Oh my! It hasn't separated. Did you separate? It didn't separate the couple. It only activated the engines that time there. That's odd. Let's hope it won't cause an issue for the Namiari. As we hit the radars once again. I am still a bit baffled at the domination that the Namiari is showing here. Let's hope that the boat camp can ditch its mindset of wanting to lock the 120s first, because it's really hampering it. It is really hampering it, and it means that the boat camp can't show off its maneuverability skills. I was really looking forward to a gun battle between these two, but no! Missiles had to ruin the fun! I'm a real sad commentator Hojoz right now. And I bet Rocketing Racer is real sad too. This is just awful for him actually. I was expecting way more from him. Anyway, he has one more chance at the very least. The missiles have fired. I wonder if he has chaff. He has. Yeah, I just heard the chaff. So, yeah, there are the missiles again. It only lost its engine this time, so perhaps it can just fire the engines, or fire the guns on the Namiari, and get Namiari a bit of damage that way. But I mean, it's just suffering through this entire matchup. It just is suffering through this entire matchup, and it can't hit the Namiari for shit here. However, the Namiari was forced to dodge the boat camp there, at least not fly right up against it, and it will probably be focusing on taking out the aircraft of the boat camp team first, which the Gauss are firing there. They will be interested in taking down the boat camp, which still doesn't have any engines. That's a problem really. It also doesn't have any EC, so it was probably fitted with with its oh my god, the thing there, energy generating thing, the RTG. Yes, I've finally figured out what it was. It looks like the boat camp probe has gotten a hit on the Namiari, but of course it was only missiles, because it's always only missiles. Namiari will be looking to fire the Gauss as well, because it doesn't have any missiles left, and it is firing Gauss on that boat camp probe. However, Team Boat Camp might stand a chance here if it's gonna hit, which it is. It is hitting a lot. I'm hearing explosions. What's the damage? Ooh, yeah, that's gonna go down, isn't it? Yep. That's a dead Namiari. Now, if the boat camp lands this, it'll be saved by its boat. And judging by the amount of wings the boat camp has left, it will be able to land it. And the Namiari has no wings left and a whole lot of weight. So it's probably gonna die. And yeah, in this case, one fine boat means nothing if you have two slightly damaged entities. Which I say slightly damaged because you can just fit an engine on here. Return the 2 or 3 wing surface missing here. Here, return your big ass elephants and just fly again. which is way less damage than the Namiari has taken, which is somewhere below in the seafloor right now. Anyway, that's pretty much the commentator's curse that was put on the Namiari there, since I was interested in getting the boat camp at least a bit of a chance, and it has gotten a bit of a chance. However, it just killed itself. I didn't expect that. It killed itself. So that means that the not at all fine boat camp here, because it has been hit, and I saw explosions. Come on, mate, I saw explosions. I saw explosions on the boat camp, and it has been hit slightly. So that means that probably there are some parts missing here. And if there are parts missing, of course it's gonna lose against the Kame. And honestly, before the boat camp exploded, it did take less damage. And there are more parts of the boat camp. You know, I'm gonna do another round. I'm gonna call this... Hold on a second. If I call this a tie, it's still a 3-1. So yeah. Let's just call it a tie. Because I really find it hard to see damage. And if it's not a tie, well, I mean, I suppose I'll just continue the match. Or I could just expect this boat, see if there was any damage. If there wasn't, we'll have to do another round. And it doesn't look like it had damage. So, we're going to do another round. Going to do another round for the boat camp. In the boat camp's favor, I know it sounds a bit biased, but I couldn't find any real damage on the boat camp there, and just to be sure, I'd like to do another match. I want to be sure that that I'm right here, so I don't want to come off as biased or as a problem. Yeah, I keep forgetting that the Namiari has 2 spacebar actions. I'm sorry. That one's on me, not KSP. Yeah, that's a bit dumb. Anyway, I mean it's... Yeah, I'm just going to call it 2-1. I guess then the Namiari with the still with the advantage. And I have honestly no doubt that the Namiari will get another victory here, seeing as it did kind of dominate the boat camp there last time out. And the boat camp is pretty much reliant on how it is hit by missiles. And if it isn't badly hit by missiles, it can still fight on. It really is reliant on how it is hit by missiles. So 4th match, I think I'll be on board with the Namiari again this time. The competition. Get the aircraft into the air. And I am very happily surprised that I have to do 4th round here. Since well, in the beginning there, the boat camp just really didn't seem like a fighting entity, like it had a fighting chance. And I would like to see this match again, but without any of the missiles, since I honestly reckon the boat camp stands a good chance on the gunfighting. It is just concentrating on getting the missiles off instead of dodging, which is really hampering it. Anyway, A120 is away from the Namiari, and the boat camp will have to dodge, but probably won't. It will just fire countermeasures and don't care. And right about now, the 120s will be coming in. And they have completely annihilated the boat camp, which is pretty much according to what I was expecting. Boat Camp dead then. Boat Camp Pro being fired on with Hellfires now. Yeah, it looks like the easy victory again. So, it's pretty cool. I wasn't expecting the Namiari to get a completely utter domination there on the Boat Camp, but it has. And GG to that. Rocketing Racer simply not firing his missiles in time, leading the craft to concentrate on locking on the aircraft shown here in Namiari, instead of concentrating on dodging, which just killed the aircraft the entire time. Just nearly 100% guaranteed aircraft killed there. It's pretty bad. Anyway, Namiari wins. Time to head to the second match and then the final match of the quarterfinals, which means that next week we'll have semifinals. Competition moving more quickly than I expected. I expected to have to do 2 episodes instead of 1 for the last 2 matches. Anyway, next match, go to the matchups. And that second matchup sees the SK14 Aero Mark 1C and SK14 Aero Mark 1C Pro by Hojoz battle the Zircon HST IIN and BNS Antwerpia by Willius. And let's say that this one is also going to be a lesson in missile tactics, since, well, that's going to be one obvious flaw that I point out about in the middle of the battle, that either one of these aircraft has, that the other one doesn't, which means that the other one gets the victory each time. Well then, quarterfinal match, and we have the Aero versus the Zircon, which the Zircon, of course, in the qualifiers had a little bit of a setup issue, but now we know that it was simply because it was the first boat to be deployed, and thus it needed to be separated first. So let's hope that fix works for the Zircon as well, otherwise we'll have some more hold-ups in the setup department. And, well, this looks like a rather conventional aircraft, of course. And then we have the Aero, which this is a Trident aircraft. It has its Hellfires on top and the missiles, the anti-air missiles down under in Australia. And this is, of course, the aircraft where we can't immediately deploy the radar. So, well, we can't immediately do that. I loaded up the Aero first, and you'll notice that every time I've loaded up an aircraft first, it's in Team A. First aircraft I load up is always in Team A, because, you know, convenience and all. So, loading again and separating the aircraft from the boats. Separate. I should separate. Yes, thank you. And separate. Oh, it fired. Oh no. Oh no. It fired its takeoff rockets, which it shouldn't have. So it's time to load them up again, try again, and hope that this time they do correctly fire. They do correctly separate. If it's needed, I'll just separate the aircraft manually without using the spacebar. Back with the Aero. Separated. Zircon. Have to wait for the staging to get in first, and there it goes. I was just a bit too fast for the Zircon there. I'm sorry, mate. I'm especially sorry to myself, since that held up the match a little bit. Let the Aero roll frontwards to its retainer, which is the radar. The Zircon is moving, looking good so far. Don't start competition. Zircon takes off correctly, and the arrow does too, which is good news. So let's enable the radars. I'm happy with that. I was expecting the Zircon to be more of a pain in the ass than that. Appreciate it, mate. It wasn't you that was causing the issue, it was just my setup method. I'm sorry for that. I DM'd him with the fact that it wasn't deploying correctly, but I've managed to make it work normally. So I'm sorry with however I treated you in the first match there, in your qualifier battle. I mean, you won it anyway, so it doesn't really matter. No, does it? Starting, let's see who gets the missiles and the locks. These are both fairly tiny aircraft, which are looking very stealthy, based on normal ASC aircraft, so I'm not expecting them to fire until about 5 kilometers. It was actually 6 kilometers at which the arrow could first fire the Zircon. Zircon will have to dodge now. Let's see if it does. Doesn't look like it. Yeah, those are going to hit, aren't they? Yeah! Once again, it's an aircraft concentrating on getting the missiles off first, instead of dodging, which that's a mistake. Let's see how it's doing. It is flying. That's the condition I'm in. The Zircon boat has died, the BNS Antwerpia. It has been completely annihilated by arrow hellfire. See what I did there? Arrow now firing against my logo, I suspect. Don't fire against my logo, you'll get a penalty. No, you won't. You get it. Let's see how the Zircon is doing. Ah, it's still flying. It's still flying. It will have to deploy those hellfires and get a successful kill on the arrow's boat, but I do not suspect that that will be the case today. Again, locks on aircraft with missiles proving to be fatal, or at least match it has suffered from the fact that it couldn't lock and fire its missiles before the missiles were coming in. That has been the entire issue here. So I might set up a minimum range at which you have to fire the missiles. Or minimum lock, since it hasn't gone well with this aircraft, but I suspect in a 2v2 this wouldn't have happened. So that's basically a fault of my setup work and my rule making. As here the Zircon has died. Can confirm, Zircon died. Let's see all the fuel. There's plenty of fuel in this arrow. The Zircon's falling down. It's dead. I mean, it has an aim 9. Yes, it has an aim 9. So it has 2 of them. It has both of them. So perhaps it can fire them on toward the arrow. At least kill the arrow here. At which point I'll take priority in the aircraft, since the aircraft surviving means that you can strike a boat and aircraft, and boats can only strike aircraft and not fellow boats. So I will take priority in the aircraft surviving if there's only a one-on-one with only one of them surviving. It is trying to close in on the circle and wants to use its Vulcans, which it's doing now. Tiny jet of Vulcan fire there. It's almost as if they're clipped into one another. Zircon take a little bit of damage there. Oh, Zircon has fixed its clipping madness a bit there. It's good. Still have its aim 9s. It has been freed of its aim 9s by the Vulcan fire of the arrow. So unfortunately it will not have a counter against the arrow. So I suspect that it won't be using its Vulcans anytime soon. Does it even have Vulcans anymore? Yeah, it has them all, doesn't it? Well, it has 2 of them at least. So the arrow climbing up again. If the Zircon can get the nose pointed down, perhaps it can provide some counter to the arrow, but I do not suspect that that will be the case. The arrow concentrates on getting some more fire on the Zircon. Zircon has taken more damage there. Is carrying debris parts, more damage. Surely it'll be just completely annihilated and shot out of the air soon, with a few more passes. Meanwhile, yeah, it's taken a bit more damage. Hold on a second, is it aiming its Vulcans on the arrow right now? Come on, mate, you can do it. Please just attempt. At least attempt to do it. Where is it? I can't see it. It's under us, that I know. Let's view a arrow firing session from the Zircon now. Zircon just really unlucky. At least it has better survivability than the boat camp from last match, as far as I can tell. As finally the probe core and the weapon manager and the AI have been shot and have now been shot off, which means that it's a 1-0 for the arrow. As that match alone took 10 minutes, it's not leaving me fairly optimistic for the rest of this round. Perhaps we'll go into 1 hour again. Well, at least it's arguably more exciting than last match, which was just Namyari gets into the air, boat camp gets into the air, boat camp gets annihilated by anti-air missiles fired by Namyari, and Namyari annihilates boat camp probe. Cut to next match, and it does sound boring now that I tell it that way, doesn't it? Anyway, we'll be riding aboard the Zircon today for this round of the match. We hope here that the Zircon can pull something out of the bag and actually dodge the missiles this time. I do have my fingers crossed. As it has taken off from its boat, the Antwerpia. Nailed the radar on that, and will be flying towards the Zircon. Separating now. We have a separating attitude for the Zircon. Fairly survivable aircraft and face off and missile fire them. Let's see if it can do more than take a missile hit this time. Or basically be a target, flying target. Well, not even flying, it was falling for most of the match. We hope the Zircon can do more here. It turns as well as the arrow, it also turns. It really looks to be just a question of stealth, who has the most stealth, as the arrow is able to, of course, lock on first, the Zircon having less stealth than the arrow. Zircon wanting to fire its 120s. Come on, lock mate. Fire them. You're not going to go anywhere without firing them. You have a lock, why aren't you firing them? I have no idea really. It wasn't firing its missiles when it could have. That's a weird one. That's a real weird one. Anyway, that's the Zircon pretty much out of it again, isn't it? Well, in some ways it probably has taken less damage. Gotta be careful with saying that. Zircon on the background being annihilated, and Antwerpia I mean. No, it's actually not being annihilated. What the Zircon has to do now is land it. And it's not gonna. Oh, it is. It actually is. Pulled that one out of the bag. Didn't expect that. Arrow, oh, it is actually looking to be able to fight the arrow still, after those 2 missile hits. Survivable aircraft this. That's not gonna help your case there, Zircon. That's not gonna help your case, especially if you're gonna do it above the arrow's boat. Oh no. I foresee annihilation in our future. Specifically annihilation of the Zircon here. Arrow is hugging the water there. Seemed like for a bit at least. Arrow has now gotten out of firing range from the Zircon has now gotten out of firing range from both the arrow things. It's now getting back in towards them, both of them. The arrow missing, the Zircon missing, and it all comes down to the AA defenses on the boat. Which hopefully it will be able to attack an aircraft. It really doesn't look like it. Yeah, it really looks like a sad match for Team Zircon. That's 4 Hellfires. That's not gonna survive the Antwerpia. I'm curious as to what the Zircon will do now, since it will be basically free to fire on the Arrow Probe. The Arrow Probe isn't firing on the Zircon though. Ooh, Zircon going in for a last minute dive! That hasn't helped. It's only gotten the Arrow Probe a more accurate shot there. Oh no, that wasn't in the plan, I suspect. And that's gonna crash. Team annihilated. Ooh! The arrow just decided to also annihilate itself. Okay then, arrow suicide. But the arrow wins nonetheless, since the arrow probe wasn't damaged in any way by the Zircon, who has once again been annihilated by the fact that it didn't feel like firing its missiles. Perhaps the 120s are blocked a bit by fellow missiles on the missile rail. I have had that happen to me, to a point where I had to fire Hellfires first before I could fire my air-to-air missiles. And of course, in a match like this, that just means death. I think the Zircon could do better here. And actually get its missiles off. I want to see. Yeah. The Zircon should have had its 120 placed on the bottom here, because now it can't fire it. It is also blocked by the landing gear here. Yeah, I can totally see why it's not firing. The anti-air missiles should have been at the bottom here. Perhaps not for weight distribution, but they do have to be at the bottom to make it stand a fighting chance. Otherwise, you would have been better off not equipping missiles. And then, of course, in this case, it's better off not equipping missiles. That's sad. It's a design flaw on the Zircon. That's probably gonna lose it this match. 2-0 for the arrow. Well, you just have to take it. These are just things that you can learn from next time. You can just put this in your notes for designing an aircraft next time, and you'll be better. And look at it from the positive side. CFC isn't a highly rated competition or anything. So discovering this during a CFC match, instead of say an AFC match, where your aircraft was superior, couldn't block or couldn't fire its missiles. That would have lost you the match, and then you would have gone out redesigning the entire aircraft instead of just fixing that one flaw. Hey, I want to be helpful, and if that's the way that I can be helpful, I will. It is time to launch again, and it is simply just a question of missile placement and missile dodging this round. I find that sad to see, since this is exactly why I tried to nerf the missiles. as much weight as possible, because they can quite simply win you the match if the other aircraft doesn't dodge. It just makes me sad. Sad Hojoz. Although I thought I could see a missile fired from the Zircon. It's been fired by three. It's been hit by 3 of the 4 missiles fired. I did not suspect that would be lasting long. Oh no, that's not looking good for the Zircon. And in the background, it is the Antwerpia, of course, being completely annihilated. Yeah. Sad story for the Zircon, isn't it? In terms of dogfighting, it could have stood a pretty good chance, but missile placement, it's doing it in. And that makes me really sad. Block missiles then, deciding the match. Deciding 2 matches pretty much. Since now that I've seen this play out, I'm pretty sure that both captains had a similar issue. Or if it couldn't block, well, it's a stealth issue, isn't it? It's sad. It's sad to see missiles determining a match. But that's simply the way how competitions go. And missile missile fighting is quite simply one of the main ways that you have combat. In the sea, unless of course missiles are banned. Yeah, this is a sad case. The Zircon is slightly outspeeding the arrow there, at least for a second. It does have its full liquid fuel storage, so it will be able to fly for the entire match. The fuel storage presumably hasn't been shot out in the first match. The arrow isn't really catching up. Perhaps it needed more speed. But then again, the Zircon has less drag because it got a lot of its wing shot out. Yeah, it is not catching. Oh, that's... liquid fuel's not looking good there. Why do you have this much liquid fuel, but only have this much liquid fuel in the tab? You have a weight issue, mate. Oh, this was a poorly designed aircraft then. Like it's not even using the fuel in your wing strakes. So why did you put it there? If it's not gonna use it. Perhaps it was transferring to a part which is no longer on the aircraft via fuel priority configuration. Well, anyway, it saddens me to see that the entrants for the final 2 spots of the semifinals have dominated their opponent. It makes me sad. It honestly does. Arrow then. Come on. It is flying for the kill. We know it. Just end the suffering of Mr. Williams. I hope Williams learned something from this match though. I mean, the notes that I'm taking from this is that the Antwerpia had its guns blocked by its pontoons. And the Zircon had to reconfigure its anti-air missiles to be at the bottom of the missile stack. And it's just design notes. If you can note them, you can take them into account and you can make use of them. The Zircon did try to fire. I thought I saw a little poof there from the engines, but clearly the poof didn't do anything. Yeah, the liquid fuel had to go in here, the Mark 0 liquid fuel fuselage, but fuel transfer had other ideas. Makes me sad again. It is just a question of missile determination. Both these battles have been missile determination and missile fight focused. Pains me to say that. I mean, some find missile fights exciting, but especially if you lose because of a design flaw on your aircraft, it's not exciting anymore. I would have liked to see at least a bit of dogfighting today. And unfortunately, we didn't get that. Not much to do about it now. It is the Arrow taking a win and the final quarterfinal spot in the 5th season of Sodara Fight competition. I hope you'll join me next week for the semifinals, which will hopefully just be one episode. It's bureaucratic, but boys spoke.